All right. This is the TIP Network, where we focus on helping you level up through self-improvement with a little sarcasm sprinkled on top. I in several Facebook groups. As you know, we did secret Facebook groups. Now I'm not in those type of secret groups, but I'm still in Facebook groups. And I'm in a Kevin Samuels fan club, right? Which there's a lot of, good things going on in there. A lot of ratchetness going on there, a lot of toxicity, but every now and again you find some very good conversations.
It's Facebook after all. So.
Yeah. And so one of the conversations that came up today, a matter of fact, this day, which, by the time this comes out, it'll be some time later, but it's still going to be very relevant, is a post where a gentleman said, a man will know in 6 months if he wants to marry you. And the comments underneath were really mixed. And so what I said was, 6 months of dating, yes, a man will know if he wants to marry you. You vet them before you dating, because you date with intention. Mm. Whatever your intention is, you date with intention. And you vet before. And as a young man, and the funny thing about young people nowadays is, when I was 20 years old, 29 years old, 25 years old, and a 50-year-old man wanted to tell me something, I would listen. And I'd really digest it. And I wouldn't argue with the guy. Unless he said something that was just totally off base. Young people nowadays think they know every fucking thing. Mm-hmm. And don't even understand the words that are coming out before they're arguing. And so, when you're dating with intention, no matter what your intent is, intention doesn't mean intention to marry. You could date with an intention to have sex with someone. You could date with an intention to spend time with somebody, right? But because people are so close-minded, they close themselves off to just the understanding. And this is because these men haven't optimized themselves yet. They haven't been to the rules of self-growth. And then after the rules of self-growth, after you work on yourself for 10 years, you start optimizing. And so I want to approach two things. And one thing is what vetting really means and how you would vet somebody, for a relationship. Or for anything.
Just look at their IG and their Twitter. You can figure out a person quick.
And then
go on Tinder, make sure that they're on it.
Then after that, one of the ways that I've seen men optimize themselves is the downfalls for it. Mm-hmm. So it's going to be, I'm going to get into the travel part of it, or just a different part of it really quickly. But I'm just going to go over vetting for the slow people in the back, right? So here we go. You vet somebody by finding out who they are before you spend time with them. You don't vet somebody when you're dating them. That's impossible. As a man, your time and resources are the most important thing you have. So why are you going to give someone time and resources before you vet them? So how would I vet somebody? Mm. Well, first thing I do back in the day is I would find out who their dad is and what kind of relationship she had with her dad. If not her dad, the man important in her life. If she can't tell me and articulate any great relationship with a man in her life, I'm done. Mm-hmm. If you don't have a good relationship and respect for a man in your life, how are you going to respect me? Because you just met me. If you know somebody for 30 years and you don't respect them, and there's not a real good reason why you don't respect them, then I'm just done with you.
Right. So I think you got to set it up, though, first. Are we talking about a coffee date or something first?
Oh, yeah. So okay. What I do is I always have a coffee date, 45 minutes. We just talk about life and each other. Mm-hmm. Right? Coffee date or a sandwich shop. I'm not spending a lot of money. I'm not spending.
I don't know the inflation going around. Sandwich might be a $20 sandwich.
I'm not spending $150 to get to know you. I might go get two $10 sandwiches and sit there and talk to you. I'll buy you a $10 sandwich and a soda or something. Daytime, quiet. Let's talk, right? And let's talk for 45 minutes or an hour. Let's get to know. I'm not dating you. I'm getting to know if I want to date you. I'm gonna ask you about your relationship with your dad. Like one of the biggest things with my current lady is that one of the things that she that I noticed is that when we were having we were out, I think we were having a sandwich, and she
for real,
yeah, we were having a sandwich.
Okay.
We're having a sandwich.
Okay,
and she got a phone call. She says, "Oh, I'm sorry. Give me a second. I got to talk to my dad." And she excused herself and talked to her dad. And I was like, is this like a test? Is this like they going horrible? And she's going to say she has to go. She comes and said, oh, yeah, my dad just got off work. He always calls me when he gets off work. And they talk to each other. And he wanted me to know if I'm coming by this weekend or something like that. So again, I nature. And I was like, cool. Awesome. So she has a good, respectful relationship with her dad because her dad was important enough for her to excuse herself and talk to her, right? You know, and it wasn't a crap test where she come back, oh, it's an emergency, I gotta go, this date's horrible, you know, because you're only buying me a sandwich and I wanted a ribeye, you know, or something like that, right? That's number one thing. Number two thing is, you know, go through her social media. If she's on social media with her booty out and it's not her job.
What do you mean by going through her social media? You mean going through from using your social media?
Yeah. Just look at her.
Just making sure.
Look at her, because social media is the dating apps of the new world. So see how she's portraying herself. And if it's her and her family or this and that, you know, and look for multiple accounts, you know.
Look for, they're out there.
Look for multiple accounts, this and that, right? And I'm going to talk about this with the travel section also, right? So these are just simple things. This is called vetting. This is called finding out somebody before.
But that sounds like stalkerish.
It's not stalkerish. You're finding out somebody. Why is it stalkerish? It's public information. You're finding out somebody. You're finding out things about somebody before you go to spend time with them. And it's my right to do that, right? So me talking to you and finding out the relationship you have with your family is important. Because look, as a man, you want to be respected. And, you know, as a man, you want to be able to lead. You want to be head of a household, right? And if that's what you want, you can't expect someone to. You just don't turn that on. You got to understand what that looks like. And a lot of times, women, they say, "Oh, I can submit to the right man." Yeah. No, I'm not the right man. Because you can submit to the right man, but he has to have $500,000 a year. Yeah, no.
Well, how do you think they're defining submission or submit?
Well, usually they define submission as negatively, because people are so ignorant in this world that they don't understand that submission is not negative. Serving someone is not negative. As a matter of fact, the greatest warriors in the history of this world are samurais. And samurais means to serve. So it's a noble thing, right? You know, it's just like when I went to my grandma's house and my grandmother was elderly and she would ask me to do stuff and I would just do it.
So that's the actual for submission.
Yeah, sir.
That's a true definition for submission.
Yeah, and so then we get in these weird situations where, oh well, I'm a modern woman and I'm not going to do this and that. Okay, well, I don't need to spend time with you then. I don't need to spend time with you. Guess what, modern women? That's why all the time people ask me why was I never married or why this or that or why didn't I have somebody. Too many modern women out there. I didn't want to be with them like that. And guess what? I don't have a situation where my woman does exactly what I said, but you know, we belong to each other, and that's important. Right. So
would you say submitting too would be you're submitting your time, you're submitting your time, you're submitting
my resources. Yes.
So literally, if you twist these words around, which is not really twisting because it's you're submitting something.
Every woman wants you to submit your time and resources to them. Every woman wants you to submit to their will with your time and resources that you meet. Everyone's like, hey, I really want your time to do this. I need you to spend time with me here. They want you to submit to that, but they want you to submit to that without giving you anything. And that's what happens as a disconnect now. So with these young men out here understanding to vet somebody, this is what we're talking about here. And then when an OG tells you something like this, which I'm an OG, and I tell you this, and then you say, oh, well, you don't know what you're talking about, this, that, and this. I just look at you like, well, you're an idiot. Well, I've been married for this many years. Okay. But you're not in the marriage you like. Because you didn't vet her. Because you didn't vet her.
For that, huh?
You didn't vet her.
Remember that.
You didn't vet her. You know, because if you're saying you had to date her 6 years while you were vetting her, then here's the deal: the longer you date before you're married, statistics show, the less the marriage lasts.
Really?
Yes. As a matter of fact, if you look, dating is for courting, right? Back in the day. I think it was a Tuesday in the old days. You would talk to the lady's father when you wanted to go out with her. And he would say, where are your folks from? What do you do? What do you plan on doing? What's your hopes and dreams? Do you believe in God? What church do you go to? And you would tell him all that stuff. And if you went to church, he would go to church and he would talk to his pastor. Hey, do you know so-and-so at First Baptist? Yeah, this boy's trying to date my daughter. I want you to ask the pastor about him. And the pastor would go and ask him and say, well, he's a pretty solid family. He comes back. You would do background. That's how people did it. That's called a community. That's how your community made sure. And then you would be held liable because with all these people asking about it and stuff like that, you know, everybody wants that privacy. But there's no real privacy when it's like you don't have a privacy from your parents. Now, look, of course, it's your parents are not going to be with you. You know, are not going to be with that person or be with you when they're. But I mean, traditional marriage, your dad's supposed to give you away. Your mom's, somebody's supposed to give you away. So, like, I know a lot of people that get away from this traditional marriage, they get away from these traditional ideas, but then you look at us and we're like a 55% failure rate. But when it was a traditional, we were at like a 70% success rate. So maybe, just maybe, we should go back and look at what we were doing right. Now, let's talk about more male optimization. Men, I get this here. Maybe you'll cut this off. Maybe it'll be a different podcast. I don't know. But men, here's the deal. You have to build yourself. You have to build your self-value. And after you build your self-value, that still doesn't mean you're going to be successful with relationships. I mean, I'm just telling you, and I'm not a dating coach, but I will give you my personal opinion. My personal opinion is that when you're trapped in this Western world, you are only learning how things work here. And you think you're trapped here, and especially if things aren't going well for you, maybe you need to get a passport and get a plane ticket and go somewhere else. And there's plenty of places you can go. And if you're traveling, and look, let's be honest, most men travel to see beautiful women. So if you want to see beautiful women, there's countries, Brazil, Costa Rica, Mexico, Eastern Europe, there's Poland, Ukraine, Russia, Mongolia. Surprisingly, a lot of good women in Mongolia, right? Thailand, Philippines, Indonesia, Vietnam. Give a shout out to yo folks.
Yeah,
Scott's like Vietnam. Dudes be popping over there too, ladies, especially black women. But and I'm not saying Australia, Canada. I'm not saying that you need to go to this place and it's because it's the only place you can meet women. I'm saying that you need to go and see how different cultures and different women react to you as a man. Because we live in a matriarchal society, even though women say it's a patriarchal society. But no, it's not. Because you go to some places and like women, they look at man and they're like, oh my goodness, a man is a status symbol to get. So, and this is one thing, like there's a content creator called the Filipina P, and she's from Dumaguete and Negros Occidental. And one of the things she was saying was that, like a lot of Filipinas, they look for foreign men to marry, right? And so I'm going to give you guys a hint because you guys are going to get your passport now. You're like, all right, G. All right, Gorilla. All right, my man. I got my passport. I'm going to go, and I'm going to go to the Philippines. I'm going to go somewhere, and I'm going to find me a woman. I'm sick of these American women. They won't give me no play, and they're going to go there. But you have to be careful. And this is just my dating advice to you, right? I'm just talking to you. I'm just rocking with you here, right? Understand that hypergamy exists everywhere. It's not just in the West, and it's not out of control, and it's not unchecked in the West.
And go real quick, what hypergamy is? Hypergamy
means that women will always want a bigger and better deal when it comes to men. Women cannot down trade for lifestyle. Men cannot down trade for sex. Right? So, men ourselves, like Chris Rock said it best, if you get something freaky, and then you go with it's not freaky, you're going to go back to freakiness, right? And then women, if you're in a fucking beautiful 5-bedroom place, and you're not going to go to a 1-bedroom apartment, and stay there for long, you're going to try to go to a 6-bedroom place, right? Well, so it's just one of the things. This is the nature of life, right? So, you're going to go to a place, so I'm going to use Thailand as an example, and women are going to be jumping all over you. Right? Because you're different, because you're new. And maybe if you're a 4 in America, maybe you're a 7 in Thailand because you're taller than everybody. That could just happen there. Like, God, look how tall he is. Wow, he's tall. Height is a valuable thing, right? So you have to understand that, Thai women, if they're looking for someone who's 6 feet tall, there's very few Thai men walking around 6 feet. So if a foreigner walks in 6 feet tall, that's a gold mine there, right? And so in Thailand or the Philippines and places, you just want to be careful and understand because your vetting process is a lot more difficult because you don't live there. I've seen a lot of guys when I was staying in Thailand go there and fall in love. Just fall in love. One day I'm in love. One day I'm in love.
And send thousands and thousands of dollars.
Right. Shout out to Flossberg. He was there. He witnessed the White Boy Steve, where he shows up one day, call this guy White Boy Steve. Right? Because we knew the black dude named Steve. We used to call him Black Dude Steve. And then another white dude was there named Steve. We called White Boy Steve, right? And White Boy Steve, he shows up one day, and he shows up, and he's just like, man, it's my first day here. I said, man, enjoy yourself. Be careful. Don't fall in love. I said, whatever. I know what I'm doing. I'm from New York City. We got the craziest woman in the world from New York City. No lie, 2 hours later, he shows up with a woman around his arm. He's like, this is the one. I'm like, the one? He's like, man, she doesn't speak any English.
Working the magic.
She doesn't speak any English. She's my girl. She just looked at me. She said, I love you. And I felt it in my heart. And I was like, wow.
Oh, goodness.
Wow, okay. And he says, all right. He says, yeah, man, we're going up to her village next weekend. Woo! We're going to the village already, right? And so, fast forward 2 months, she shows up and she walks up to me. Where's Steve? Oh, I thought you just speak English. She didn't even have an accent. Mm-hmm. And I said, I haven't seen Steve. And she says, Steve, leave me. And so I bump into Steve, and Steve's like, man, she took 10,000 baht off of me. So 10,000 baht was probably like, maybe $400 or $500, right? Uh-huh. And she just took 10,000 baht off me, said she needed it for her family, and I just ran out and didn't know what to do. See, Steve did. I ran out. That's funny. Here's another story. Here's another story about somebody in Thailand, right? Because me being in Thailand so much, me training Muay Thai there, doing everything, I have a lot of experience. So once I go to Thailand with a friend of mine, right? I'm not going to mention his name. But if I did, he would know who he is. He's going to know who he is anyway. But I'm going to protect you by not telling your name. But I'm going to tell this funny-ass story. So he goes to Thailand with me. And we go there and we're just having fun. We're hitting the bars. We're drinking. Girls are everywhere. It's not that. This is like, hey, look. Some girls are for real. Some girls are for play. Some girls are for real, don't cost you money. Some girls are for play, cost you a lot of money. Be careful. No problem, man. So he goes and he hooks up with this lady. He says, oh, man, she's not that type of girl. She's a regular girl, man. This, not that, and this. I love her. I said, I love her. But I went through a bad breakup. So I said, man, that's cool. So I'm just happy I get him on the airplane. We're coming back. And he's like, yeah, man. Bro, I can't stop thinking about her. And I said, she just said I'm everything she wants. She says, I'm the type of guy she needs in her life, this, and that, and that. So, of course, he gets home, and what's he doing? Sending her money. How
much at a time?
Oh, he's probably sending her a couple of $100s at a time, right? Which is good money for her, right? And then he flies.
It's good money for her. So how much would a couple $100?
A couple $100 for well, put it this way: her rent probably $150. Her rent's probably $150. Okay. So you're sitting there. You're paying her rent.
A couple $100. How many times did he send it? Per month?
Per month. So he's paying her rent for a few months, right?
Okay.
And so then he says, man, I'm flying back. So it's 3 months later, he's flying back to Thailand without me. And I'm like, bruh, don't go there without anybody. Wait, go with somebody. He's like, no, I got to fly back with her. So he flies back there. And what does he do? I don't hear from him. After the second day, he goes to the village with her, this, and that, and this. And then he's at a hotel. And he just pops up the next day. He's like, she went crazy. And so this is the funny part of the story. He said there was a thing of gummy bears on the counter in the room. She had moved into the room and set up her stuff, and she was cooking and everything. And he said, oh, what a sweet woman. She put out gummy bears, and he ate the gummy bears. And she comes out, she's like, where are the gummy bears? And he said, well, you left me gummy bears, so I ate them. She's like, no, those are for my babies. And he said, I thought you didn't have kids. She's like, no, both of my kids are dead. But they're ghosts and they follow me all along. The son, he likes gummy bears. And he's my heart. The daughter, she protects me. Mm-hmm. She likes milk. Mm-hmm. And he noticed there was a glass of milk out, but he didn't drink the milk because he doesn't like milk. Mm-hmm. And he's like, realizes that she's crazy. So he says...
Go finish your story.
So he says, this is over. I can't deal with you. Mm-hmm. She snatches the phone out the wall. Now, this is a while ago, and it was a wired phone. This hotel had wired phones. Understand, this is Thailand where they had phones in the room, right? And the phone that you can call, room service. They still have them out here. She snatches out the wall, swings around him, busts him in the side of the head with it, starts whooping his ass. So he runs out of his room that he pays for as she tears up the room because he ate her ghost baby's candy. Mm. Now, I just want you to know that we called them ghost babies for like 4 years after that.
All right, so I got it, since I am Southeast Asian, and I'll show you some of my Asianness here. But that's a real thing. Like, when I say that's a real thing, that's something that Southeast Asian people take. It's they wait. How am I saying this? They take that seriously, that belief.
Yes. But
Very, very seriously.
Yes.
Especially with people that have passed away and they leave out food and stuff. That is embedded in Southeast Asian cultures.
yes, and you know what he should have did? He should have vetted her to figure out that before, because he didn't even know she had children who died, because he wasn't interested. He was only interested in she's fine, she's giving me booty, and she says she loves me, and that's what can happen. You know,
So not knowing. So that's a culture clash, basically.
It's a culture clash, but it's not even a culture clash because he should have asked questions. He should have asked questions. I mean, you're allowed to ask questions in any situation.
Yeah.
You have kids? Did you have kids? You know, it's things to ask. Something else too. Filipina P talked about tomboys in Dumaguete City, right? And she said like
Tomboys.
And so in tomboys in the United States, that just means that like a lady who like maybe plays sports or anything like that, not a big deal. Some of your best friends are tomboys. Some of the tomboys here grow up to be the prettiest women. Doesn't mean that. But in the Philippines, tomboys mean that they're, lesbian. Right? So that's what it means. And they don't even want to say that L word, because saying that L word there in the Philippines is like bad. It's disgraceful on the family. So they say they're tomboys, right? And basically they say they're tomboys because it's their hope that eventually they'll just figure out that they don't like that anymore. They're just going through a phase.
This is a real thing in Southeast Asian cultures.
It's a real thing,
or
right?
They're considered themselves Pacific Islanders.
It's a real thing.
Yeah.
So they go to the PI, and maybe this tomboy meets a foreigner, and she puts on some makeup one night, and she goes to meet foreigners at a place where foreigners go. Dumaguete City has a lot of foreigners who go visit there, especially from Europe. So she says, okay, this guy's looking great, or he's not looking great, but he likes me, and so maybe she gets with him. Maybe she hooks up with him, right? And then she hooks up with him. Well, he's only there for 3 weeks. So she pretends for 3 weeks that she likes him, and then and this is, Filipina P articulates this way better, uses some great analogies. And then he goes home, right? When he goes home, he's only going to come twice a year or once a year. He's sending her money. He's sending her money every month to make sure that she's taken care of, to make sure that she doesn't see anybody else. Because what do men want to do? They want to secure you with their finances. That's what men think, right? And so she's sending him money.
And here she has her own girlfriend.
and then maybe she has 2 or 3 guys doing it. Because usually when I've seen it, it's been a lady like that. They have like 3 or 4 dudes, 2 or 3 dudes sending them money. And they're making just as much money as a Westerner. They're making like $40,000, $50,000 a year, right? With just dude sending money, because she has one dude sending her $1,000, maybe one dude he makes more money sending her $1,500, one dude might be sending her $2,000, right? So she might be making like $4,000 a month.
Well, what gets me is the psychology of the guys that's doing this.
Oh yeah.
It's basically simp with the OF, the O fans, right? Yeah. But it's been going on for a long time. It's not even that, because you're
not even getting anything. You're not even getting anything.
Yeah.
I mean, at first.
Well, now you can with the Facebook,
at first, it's some
FaceTime
and some cams, this and that. But eventually, what always happens is that you notice that the intimacy, the contact stops falling off. She's not available. And then you notice that on her Facebook, that she's like always like hanging out with her friend. And this is her cousin or her best friend. And so what has happened, and many times, is that this guy, he goes and does a little more research, and then he realizes, hold on a second, he found her other Facebook, and this is her and her girlfriend. And why does she now the question is, why is she so willing to play this role? And this is 3 reasons. Reason number 1, right? Status. A foreigner elevates her status in her hometown. And, sending that money, maybe she builds a big house for her mom. Maybe she does something like that, right? Number 2, right? Besides status, it stops her mom or her family from worrying. Maybe she could say, hey, I have a boyfriend now. And so it gives them back in the family, right? And number 3, it allows her financial stability. And that financial stability coming in allows her to spend money who she really loves with her girlfriend. And so, guys, when you're traveling out there, and just don't think that you're just going to walk into a different country. I see this all the time. I see, especially in the Kevin Samuels fans, brothers, get you a passport. These women are waiting for you. Yes, these women are waiting for you.
They're waiting to get.
But make sure that you understand that you can get got. I've seen it 100 times. I've lived in 2 different countries for multiple years, and you can't get got. And I can tell you that being a young man, it was really easy to believe. As I'm older now, it's just hilarious. Like if I go visit a place and someone talks to you, I'm like, what do you want? What do you really want? I got a wife, leave me alone, right? And they'll usually buzz right off, and you'll find out what's going on. So that's all I got for this. I hope this was interesting. It's kind of like an old school tip throwback where we're trying to give you some information, trying to add value, not so much sarcasm this time, but value with my experience of traveling. So there you go.
And I got to say, from the Southeast Asian perspective, especially from the Vietnamese perspective, I've got this from my mom. She told me that if I ever go to Vietnam, I got to be extra wary and cautious and be on my toes when dealing with Vietnamese women or any Southeast Asian women, because they are a subset, a group that will run that game. Not saying all of them, but there are people that will take advantage of your lust, of your desire, want to be in a relationship to extract your resources, which would be your time, your money, your attention.
But they're going to run that game.
Yep.
All right. Well, thank you very much for your time. Thank you for rocking with us. All right. Like and subscribe on YouTube. Remember, we are trying to get to 10,000 subscribers from 1 year from now. So we need your help. We need your help desperately in this. Like and subscribe on YouTube. Hit that notification. Share it. Share it to everybody. Hey, all of you folks who want to travel out there, this one was for you. All you men who want to travel out there, you want to hear more of this content? Let us know in the comments. You know, you want to hear more like this, because I have plenty of stories. I've traveled abroad about 90 times.
I got plenty of stories and plenty of
stories. I mean, from Mongolia, Philippines, Thailand, Cambodia, Indonesia, France, England, Germany, Madagascar, South Africa, Mexico, Costa Rica, Brazil, been all over the world, right? Now, I have plenty of stories of my interactions with people, the good, the bad, and the ugly. I'm down to give it to you, but only if you want it. So, share it, like, and subscribe, and hit us with the comments. Also, follow us on all social media at the TIP Network. That's on the Instagram, that's on the Facebook, Rooney, and that's on that TikTok, and right here on the YouTube.
Yep.
Oh, you say somewhere. I'm getting tired.
Is that it?
Oh, we got more.
All right. So where can they find you at?
You can find me at I am Gorilla1 on the gram. And where can they find you at?
Find me at ScottT on Instagram. He's already talked about all our social media, and we will respond to you if you do comment in the sections. Yeah, leave a comment in the sections. We will interact with you. We'll talk with you. Yep. And also, if you hit us either on DMs and Instagram or Twitter or whatever, we will talk. So
yeah. Let us know.
Go ahead and do that.
Let's interact. Let's build this community and let's keep it going. Remember, 10,000 subscribers in 1 year. Ask yourself one question, and it's not if you got a disease. It's can you handle the tip? But if you go playing over there in Thailand without a Jimmy hat, you might get a disease.
Man,
burning. We're out. Boom.